All right, there you go. So I guess we are live now. Let
Yep.
me see and
I'm
collect.
I'm getting the link as of now.
But
Hopefully, again, V2 will be pissed off with the 2K resolution. I'm just afraid to change 2K because we have set up everything perfectly in that.
right,
You don't need to stream at 2K, right?
yeah, there is no need. Right.
Checking the thing with the Telegram. So yeah, that worked.
Perfect.
Okay. Also told Abhijit that we are live.
Okay. Okay. So I'm ready from my side. Just let me know when we are good to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have shared everywhere. Seems. Hmm. Okay, do we have any viewers? No, not yet. How many seconds are we in streaming? 144, 144. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's like
let's
1.5 minutes.
let's start at 2 minute mark, right? Like
Okay, okay, yeah. So
so
we have shared in the
155.
tux, right? Tux
Yeah, yeah,
and maybe
correct,
pin
correct,
it
correct.
also. I'm just pinning it.
Yeah, there you go, right? We hit the mark.
Okay.
So yeah,
So I should be starting, right?
absolutely.
All right. So there we go. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Open Talks episode number 20. In this episode, we
Yep.
are going to talk about four major things. Out of them, two are from Samsung. So that is like really interesting. And one of them is having experience of Abhiram. Like, Abhiram experienced one of the things in last week. So let's see what he experienced with Samsung. That is first topic. Second is Samsung S22 is having a new feature that is not expected. So, let's see what that is. And as you know, WhatsApp is pain in the ass, right? And they are going to take a weird step again. So what that is, let's see in the third topic. And the last topic is iPhone. So we all know iPhone 13 got released maybe 2 weeks back or 1 week back. Uh, it has a very unique unique spec, in this model, which is not seen, which we have not seen till iPhone 12. So what is it? Let's see, right? So I guess let's roll the intro, right? April?
Absolutely.
All right. So the first topic is like Abhiram and Samsung. So uh, weird enough, Abhiram's phone got bricked. Kind of, it was not turning on. The display itself was not turning on, and it was somehow, I mean, boot looping inside. Abhiram couldn't see anything, but he knew that this is the point when the phone turned on. This is the point when phone restarted. So that was a very weird experience what Abhiram had, and it was like overnight. The night, the earlier night, Abhiram just put the phone, normal phone, and the morning it was like doing this thing. It was heating up also. So you know, so obviously, like, nowadays phones are not repairable. So Abraham just had to go to service center, and I guess the after experience, like if Abraham explained, that will be even better. So yeah, Abraham, like after that, we just explain
Right,
that
right.
what happened.
So yeah, I mean, I will just say the whole story, right? I was just charging the phone, yesterday, like, if today is the day it bricked, right? Then yesterday night I was like charging the phone around to 89%, and I just discharged, like disconnected that, as a normal person would, and basically took it to my bedside table and just put it there. And I always have the always on display, and the brightness is set to 2. That is, like, you can set the brightness of the always on display. Uh, so I mean that was working fine, right? Absolutely, that was working fine. And I just slept, and next day morning I'm like, there's no always on display. So I just took the phone and pressed the volume up and power, right? And I could feel that the phone is kind of giving me the the power menu. That is, when it gives a power menu, it gives a like a signature vibration, right? It gives a signature vibration of the menu. It is a like a small thud kind of vibration, right? So I kind of knew that it was not brain dead, it was somehow display dead. But the display cannot die in a, just sitting on the side, right? It can't die. Obviously, if the display dies, the first thing you'll see is that some lines or some kind of artifacts on the screen. It's not like the display to just go blank overnight. So I was like pretty sure that, like it was some kind of thing related to the phone's motherboard of sort. But anyway, like I was really busy because, I do have work, right? So I had to basically give it to my dad for service. And dad basically walked into Samsung. And before that, actually, we walked in, right? We walked in with the phone to Samsung, but that time was like 6, not 6 actually, 5:25 or something, where they said they are already closed, but they are not closed until 6. I mean that is fine, right? I mean, maybe like in the COVID times they are like saying that it's closed because they don't want to entertain more people in the building, right? They want to get closed as early as possible, maybe, right? That's fine. But the whole thing is that I gave my phone to dad the next day, and he went to Sam's service center, gave it to them, and they quoted 10,000 rupees for the display replacement plus 2,000 rupees for all the charges. That is like all the other charges to replace the display, right? So obviously my dad was unhappy, right? Like he never expected some figure like that, right? Like, so he came home with the phone. Actually he called me and asked, like, what should he do, and I told, like, just take it home because it's not worth fixing for 12,000 rupees when the display is not broken, right? It's just, they're going to throw it in the garbage, the display. So yeah, and what happened was that after that I went to Samsung, right? I was really fed up with them. I lost hopes, right? I mean, completely lost hope. So I was fed up with Samsung, and I thought I will never go back, right? Like to Samsung. But yeah, I got my courage and went back to Samsung, and yeah, uh, I actually got my phone fixed for only 1,300 rupees, and the only thing that is broken was uh, a subboard actually, and that is the
That
funniest
is
thing, right?
interesting. Yep.
Because they told my dad that, like, this phone is like, destroyed in the sense of the screen is dead completely. There is no saving it, right? But when I came in with the expertise, right, that is, I was like saying, okay, here you go, like I know this stuff, right? And uh, this is the problem with the phone because, like, I'm pretty sure it's a board issue, not a display issue, because display doesn't go blank. And second of all, it is boot looping because the moment I rebooted with volume down and power, like to reset the sampling devices, you have to press the volume down and power simultaneously for 15 seconds. That is how you reboot the phone. Not like Snapdragon ones where you keep on pressing the power button and it just resets, right? Like even for Snapdragon, I guess Samsung's it is like that, like holding down on power. So yeah, anyway, reset worked fine, obviously, but it kept boot looping. So I thought maybe like resoftware the device. So I did also resoftware the device again, boot looping, right? Like so I'm 100% sure that it's not the software, it's not the display because I don't see anything in the display, 100%, nothing, pitch black, right? And the phone
Yeah,
was
yeah,
heating too much. So went to Samsung with all the knowledge and put all these knowledge in front of them, and then what happened is their strategy changed, right? Their strategy changed in the sense like they don't want to uh, give a hefty price right now because they know that the customer is literate and customer knows what they're talking about, and that made them nervous because then if they do a display swap, they couldn't do that. And one more thing I did was I never gave them a password to my phone, right? Like
perfect.
it is that the phone, obviously you can go to recovery mode and most probably just enable the testing mode, right, in phone. And they should have all the testing equipments in theory. They should have some kind of a hardware which can actually plug into the phone and test the whole functionality of the phone even without the password. But they kept on asking me the password, and I gave them the password, but they couldn't unlock because it's a really big password, so with that password also, my mom thinks like with the password they were like serious about it. Okay, shit, this guy is serious about
Oh
about
man.
their data and all those things, right? So he knows what he's doing, right? Uh, anyway, that was an like a this is interesting because see, like Apple, Samsung, any manufacturer, right? They from the first time you step into the service center, they assess you and they kind of find what is the uh, weak spot, that is, can they basically say okay, uh, I want like your phone is broken, like can just make them buy a new phone, right? That is, tell them that the phone is not fixable, it's not fixable to a point where you have to replace the display, it costs 12,000, maybe just get a new phone, right? Like, that is what they did.
Yeah,
Obviously, maybe even Samsung is telling them to do it, assess the customer before seeing them a feedback. I don't know, right? Don't quote me on this. Like I'm just saying, it's not a, it's not a official. You can say I haven't confronted anyone about this and found out that Samsung is giving them guidelines to do so. But the whole idea is that screen replacement is kind of like uh, the place where actually everyone is getting paid a lot because screen replacement is very hard to do, right? In the newer phones with the edge to edge displays, you have to basically heat the phone, then I mean technical term is cook the phone at this point because you have to heat it to a point where it is like cooking, right? And you have to literally pry it with a razor sharp blade, but in such a way that you don't touch the display even like one micrometer. That much accurate it should be, right? And if you touch the display, you know what happens? Breaks and done, right? Your display is not.
yeah.
And
Display is
the
then like
like
a wafer, like it will like even like brittle than the wafer.
it's like it can
We
bend, right? It can bend in the sense like it can bend up and down, but it can't bend um, in the other direction. That is,
yeah,
the
yeah,
x direction, right? It can't bend. It can bend y direction. And even the displays are flexible, right? If you take out the display, you can even roll them if you want, the OLED displays. But just poke it with a small, you can say small uh, pin, and the whole row goes down. See, if you want to know how the OLED display dies very fast, you can just go to JerryRig everything and search for, that folding phone. What was it? Samsung Fold, right? Fold 1 review, where he just poked poked with a very small thing. I think the most hardness scale, pick, I think, just a little bit, and the pixel was dead because it is barely
yeah.
the screen itself, right? With that phone, basically it
Correct.
doesn't have any
That is
glass or
correct.
anything. It is just protected by a plastic film, you can say. and that is not going to protect you much, right? In the sense of, pointy things. Plastic is not good with pointy things. So, yeah, I mean, uh, anyway, it's really good that I got it fixed for a very cheap price, right? In the sense, like, it was not a very expensive repair. So now you know what is the cost for a dead 3.5 mm jack, dead USB Type C, and maybe a dead display
right.
if the display is not dead.
Yeah,
Right? I mean, these are the three things which are done by the particular subboard, right? So it
absolutely.
costs you 1,300 rupees. If Samsung quotes more than that, then just act like you have a 300 IQ, right? Then they will be
Yep.
pretty much giving you a repair like me, right? Very low price. So yeah, I mean that
That
is
is
the
correct.
whole thing, right? I mean this is happening for everything, but not just Samsung. Like, MI, every company is doing this. This has to stop.
Yeah,
Like
even Asus did this, right? Like, like I went to service center for 4 or 5 times because 2 times, 3 times for my laptop and 2 times for my phone, right? Every time I sat there 2 hours minimum, and I just observed them, right? Customer came, they said one problem, they are providing over solution, something like change the motherboard, change the display, and those things, which can be like literally fixed by some software or some minute hardware things. But this is how they act. Like with me, like they knew like I was a techie guy because the way I talked with them and those. So they were like
most probably you
very
also had a
straightforward.
bag, right, in your bag. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That is correct.
Normally,
So
normal people comes with a suitcase or some kind of you know,
yeah,
some kind of carry
yeah,
bag, right? Kind of.
yeah. I
So
agree. So
yeah, like
so that
this
is
is
what
pretty
happens.
bad, right? Like see, the main problem is that all the parts are paired to a point where no third party repair is possible on the phone. That is, I have tried
It is
third party,
impossible.
right? I have
Yeah,
asked third party. They are saying just go to Samsung. I mean, if they say go to Samsung, then the frustration they are like, they're helpless.
yep.
Yeah, pause and enter Apple. Enigma is basically Abhijit, I think. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
Apple, it's like swap, right? You have some problem with your
yep.
uh, phone, they'll be like charging half of it, and you'll be like swapping the thing, right? It's good that at least in MacBooks they are replacing the battery.
Yeah.
I mean,
That is correct. Right.
but other old things are swap, right? Even in phone they are replacing the battery, right? Battery replacements are
I
possible, but
see. I see.
not any other issue. If you have a headphone jack dead, swap, right? If you have a earpiece dead, swap. If you have a broken screen, swap, right? Like
Yep.
it feels really weird though, right? Avijit, like do
Yeah.
you have anything to discuss? Like it's a live session, so you can always put some things in, right? Like some questions or something, right?
Yeah. Absolutely correct. Right.
Yeah, I guess Preet, like let's go to the next topic. Oh, what about the HP sales? I actually don't know about HP sales, right? Um, Seriously, what sales are you talking about? XPS or you know?
I mean, he's saying after sales service of HP, right?
Oh,
Thing is
okay.
that I don't own any HP product. Maybe Aviram also doesn't own any. I don't know. That's the
Right.
thing.
I had HP, right? See, HP is good in the sense like, see, any company, right? I mean, see, Asus is the best company in the sense of service. Actually, it's like dot, right? Like because what happens is they have a lot of device service, then they have to be best, right? Now HP is taking off. That means that HP is having a better service overall nowadays, and people are preferring them, right? That is the only reason, because I can see more laptops are now HPs, if I'm correct. People are buying HPs a lot now, right? And
Yeah, that is correct.
and I do
People are
I did
people are
have a
actually
yeah.
it's like see, people with Asus are still there with Asus, but people with Dell are basically converting to HP. I have seen this
Absolutely.
trend.
Absolutely. So I mean, Asus is like with performance, right? Like if they get the taste of the performance, they will
Yep.
obviously not go with anything. Like seriously, like I have LG Gram. When 99%, if I benchmark LG Gram versus your laptop, which is having basically the exact same processor, in the sense like not exact same,
Yeah.
mine is a little bit higher end, right? In the
Yeah.
sense of,
Yours is 10th gen. Mine is 8th gen.
and, no, it's both are 8, right? It's just that mine is having some kind of a number, right? Higher number, like
Okay. Okay.
uh,
Okay.
I can just tell you the CPU, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Um, tell the CPU. Okay, there you go, right? 8265 U, and if I am correct, yours is 8260 U.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that is
is
a
right.
nice one. Gaurav, like Ryzen 5
Yeah.
4600H. It has a really good pass mark score, if I'm correct. Pass mark, and like um the other one was which one was Cinebench, right? Cinebench is a really good score.
Right. License are killing it.
Yeah. Abhijit is saying like in like Asus service is very great for me, right? They have on-site
Yeah.
fix.
Yeah.
They also have replaced charger for free 2 days, 2 weeks after the
Oh
warranty
man,
ended.
that is
So
really good. Yep. Yep. Yep.
so yeah. I mean, here actually Asus. That is why I told you, right? Like I had an experience of, you can say, I replaced all the things in my laptop, right? Seriously, except the display, the whole thing was replaced in my Asus laptop, right? And there were two service centers. One was like
Oh, I see.
both of them were in Trivandrum, right? So one was F1 service, and the other one was some other name, right? I've totally forgot. F1 service was pretty good in the sense like they replaced the things. It was like pretty good job. But the other service center was pretty much making me wait and all those things, right? So it also depends on your location also, how lucky you are with the service center, right? But Asus actually takes it very seriously. If you kind of rate the customer service, and they get a negative score, right, from the customer feedback, they do actually send you a form, right, after the thing, that is via email, right? They
Yeah,
give you
literally
feedback
a
survey.
huge form. Yeah, I did fill it up
And in
twice.
that, if you get a negative review, then what happens is the engineer who is in charge of your laptop, right, they have to add their name, right, to say like, okay, this guy is working on your laptop, right, when in warranty kind of. Even in even in Samsung, there was a case, right? I could see the person who worked on the laptop. I mean, worked on my phone actually. The
I
name
see.
was
I
visible,
see.
right? Yeah. So the whole thing is that the person will get, you know, not fired, but a bashing from the higher management, right? Most probably, and that will basically straighten the. I heard that Ryzen 5 crashed i7 10. See, Ryzen 5 obviously crashes. Like my work laptop is having a Ryzen 5 4650U, if I'm correct. And it crashed, i7 7700K. There's a desktop processor. Like, I'm talking like, fully fledged desktop processor. It crashed it in the sense like, it was having 1000 difference in score, in Cinebench. And actually it also crashed, you can say, Ryzen once, right? Obviously Ryzen once, even desktop was crashed, but it also crashed i9, like a first i9 ever to be released. It crashed even that. That is a U processor, ultrabook grade,
Yep.
right? So I can only imagine, like, what yours can do. It's a H basically, like
That is correct.
4600H, right? It will do to crash. Like, let me get the score real quick, right? Like Cinebench score. It is just very easy to fetch it, right? Cinebench. Cinebench. Let's see. By the way, Cinebench is a benchmark which actually renders, what do you can say, 3D model kind of like. It basically projects the 3D model to 2D space, and the 2D model being shown at last, right? 3D, like 2D picture kind of the 3D model. So yeah, CPU monkey. Okay, Cinebench R23 is the latest, if I'm correct, right? Like
Yeah. 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 That is correct.
Okay, Cinebench. Okay. Okay. It actually scored. Oh man, it scored 10,000 in benchmark, right? That actually crushes i7-8700K, which is, mind you, like
I see.
six
I
core
see.
i7, 6 cores,
Right. Right. Right.
and it's an i7 desktop. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, that is phenomenal, right? And yeah, it has. I mean, the single core performance is not that great, seems. I mean, that is there for every laptop, right? Laptops are not clocked that high. So 1162 is points. Yeah. So I guess Gaurav, right? That is that, right? Like you have that. So I guess, Preet, like, let's jump into the next topic.
All right. So the next topic is about Samsung again. So you all know, like the Note series only has a dedicated slot for the S Pen, right? But now, as for the renders or maybe some leaks of the S22, we can see S22 has dedicated slot for the S Pen. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's maybe the first non-Note phone from Samsung which is having a dedicated slot for the S Pen. So,
It's basically a
yeah, I
note
mean, we
now,
all
right?
know that. Yeah, it's basically Note. Like the only difference was the screen size and the shape of the screen and the yeah, the slot for the S Pen. So I
See,
mean,
like
we all know, like,
notes were bigger, right? Now S also got
yes,
bigger,
absolutely.
right?
S
Like,
also got, yep, yep, yep,
so
yep.
it's basically like they merged the two series into a single fully fledged series. And maybe like they are not calling it a note, rather S, because to not intimidate people. There is note always has a reputation that it's for class, like classy people, like it's for people who are doing business,
Yeah,
like people who are really really into uh, you know signature stuff, and like they want to show something like architects, right?
correct,
Those are the people.
correct.
But then Samsung
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to make everyone into the note lineup.
right,
So
right,
what they
right,
did
right.
was they killed the note lineup and merged it with the S lineup, right? Like, obviously
Yeah,
that's the best strategy, right?
mm-hmm.
You can do, because S is the best
Absolutely
selling
correct.
phone, obviously, from Samsung, right? It's a flagship, right? Everyone has it, right? I mean, not in
Absolutely.
India, but like, obviously, but in United States and all, like, everyone has a series, right?
Yeah,
So
that
it's
is
it's
correct.
like pretty much best move, because see, like, Note posted more than S series normally, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And now S series also costs more.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's a
right.
win-win situation for them. They are building a Note
Absolutely.
which is now able to be sold for a bigger audience,
Yeah,
and
right.
now they have more profit, right? And I think, right, pen on the outside is the pretty bad thing you can, seriously. The
Yeah, I
one thing
mean,
that makes the S Pen great is that it just holds
hmm,
in
hmm,
into the phone, right? Like,
right.
I have a Note here, right? It's a
Yeah,
Note, and it has a S Pen, right? You can take the S Pen out, and
hmm,
you can just start drawing on it, right?
that's right.
And that is how it should be, right? Like,
Hmm,
it is the
absolutely.
convenience, like, if you have to carry around the S Pen with you in a
Yeah,
different case, like, which makes the phone bulky, then obviously people are not going to buy S Pen. And I'm pretty sure Samsung saw that, right? Samsung saw that there is a very good sales of S series, and
okay.
pretty much no sales of the pen, right?
Hmm,
Like,
I see. I
how
see.
much pen costs? Like, it is really high, right? It was like
Yeah,
20 or 30,000 for the pen plus
yeah,
the case,
correct,
right?
correct.
I mean, who is going to buy a phone for like 1,14,000, then pay 30,000 extra just to have a privilege of a pen?
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
that
think
is true.
anyone will, right? They will be like,
Hmm,
unless they are like an architect, obviously. Then,
right, right.
that's the
Then,
end
then
of
it
story, right?
makes.
they benefit from
Right.
it.
Absolutely.
But others, I mean, pretty sure, like, who wants to just look cool, they won't buy it. They'll be like, okay, hell no, I'm not going to buy this thing. But
Correct.
yeah, I guess it is positive direction for Samsung, because I was really sad that S Pen was dying. Now I know that this comes.
Yes.
Because
It's
see,
not. Yeah.
that is
It would
really
have
good, right? It's amazing.
exactly.
S Pen is amazing,
Amazing.
right?
Like
People
and
who don't use
with
it, they are
the
like pretty much missing out.
yeah.
I mean, like when they have it, right? When you don't have
Yeah.
it, it's fine. When you have it, then you are not using it. There are a lot of people just buy a note and use it, doesn't use it. That's kind of
Right. That is good.
pretty well. Okay, Bricks. Like there is a question actually. I just postponed it for a second because we want to also progress the topics. So the question is that, is cheating possible in benchmarks? Obviously, it is possible in like even PCs. Actually, BIOS has to support it. In Gigabyte in older editions, there was an option in the BIOS, increase 3D mark scores. And what it does is,
Okay.
if it sees 3D mark, then it kind of increases the clock multiplier and reduces the throttling limit. I mean, increases the throttling limit. In sense.
I see. I see. Right.
So yeah, obviously that is possible. But in phones it is easier because the OS is controlled by the manufacturer. Here the OS is not controlled by the manufacturer, and only the person who is making the BIOS, the person who is inside the company, who is able to make the BIOS, is able to do this. And one more problem is that the motherboard needs to be overclocked,
Hmm.
right? I mean, the chip is not going to basically overclock itself. You have to basically feed it a higher multiplier, right, for clock.
Right.
And it doesn't do that unless you have a compatible chipset and also a compatible CPU. Because CPU has to be unlocked. Otherwise, it is not going to overclock.
Hmm. That is
So
absolutely right.
cheating in PCs is harder, right? Compared to cheating in phones. Phones is like kernel detects everything, and if kernel detects an app, then obviously it can overclock it, right? Increase the thermal limits, all those things, obviously. And actually, in PCs, they don't have to cheat in the sense like, see, people buy the processors only because they see the real world performance,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Right.
That is, people are going to really benchmark with programs which they haven't even seen commercial. And
Right.
you can even go to those websites where they do scientific testing, like protein folding benchmarks. They can't basically be prepared for every benchmark you have, right? In phones, you have like n number of benchmarks.
Hmm.
In like PCs, you have m number of benchmarks where m is more than even square of m. It's like that much number of benchmarks are there.
Hmm.
So they can't be prepared for everything. If they fake it, obviously, see, Intel faked it. Intel faked it. Intel faked the temperature. If you remember, they did liquid nitrogen and did overclocking. Then they made the benchmarks.
Yes.
And benchmarks are off the roof. And no one got it. And Gamer Nexus was really pissed off. Gamer Nexus, the Jesus of technology. Jesus of technology. That is how people call it. So Gamer Nexus was like literally pissed off to a point where he literally bought a processor, that exact processor from his own money, and benchmarked it and published the results everywhere, so that people are aware.
Correct.
See, this is Intel's pathetic move to stop AMD from publicizing their processors, and I guess Ryzen 2 actually. That is the time when they did that. They were like pretty devastated to get performance out. That they had no other play than to just overclock and do liquid nitrogen.
Right. Right.
They even made a cooler, if I am correct, which is called cryo cooler, Intel cryo cooler,
Oh. Okay. Okay.
which takes power to just cool
Yeah.
them. I mean, why do you want to put another 500 watts to cool a processor which takes 200 watts in the beginning?
Yeah. Right.
It's pretty bizarre, right? I mean, you could have basically put two of them with a fan simultaneously,
Right.
and drawn lesser
Yes.
power than the combined cryo-cooler thing.
Mm.
And more performance,
Correct.
obviously. More cores. You have twice
Of
the
course.
cores.
Absolutely
There you go.
correct. Yep.
So yeah, I guess that summarizes the topic. That topic.
Yep. Okay. So we go to the next topic. We have WhatsApp. WhatsApp is basically limiting some of the iOS and Android phones which are having older versions of the operating systems. Like in Android, if I remember, 4.0.4, that is ice cream sandwich. If you have phone below that, WhatsApp will stop working on that. In iOS also some version, I forgot. So the thing is that uh, what could be the reason? Like, is it the WhatsApp not able to maintain that API level, or is it something else?
I mean,
Like
does the WhatsApp use any kind of a peculiar things? No, right? Like
no,
it is pretty much a 101 app, like
exactly.
with
Yeah,
base functionality.
absolutely.
So it might be that the APIs they want to use might not be there. That is, they
I
might
see.
have uh, they wanted to feature a particular codec, but that particular codecs, the decoder was not implemented in that API, so they had to fall
Yeah,
back to another code,
correct.
which is inefficient, right? And then they were like waiting with oil poured in their eyes, right? That's how people call it, right? You, like wait for a very
I
long
see.
uh, time. Or you can say in the Tom and Jerry, you have that thing, right? Stick. They put the stick in the
Yeah,
eye and kept waiting
right,
until
right.
the shares of devices which actually had the ice cream sandwich and jelly bean reduced to minuscule.
Mm-hmm. I see. Right, right.
Maybe. But the
Yep,
thing is that this is just updates we are talking about.
I see.
Like obviously if the update stuff that is fine actually. Right?
Yeah,
The time like when they were going to kick out the older version of WhatsApp, that is when it's really going
okay.
to stop. Right and right.
I see.
You know that
Yep,
WhatsApp supports some n number of older versions, but
yep, yep.
they keep on increasing the window. Right? It's like a window, it slides.
Yes, yes.
As newer versions come,
That
the
is
older
correct.
versions get pushed up.
Yep, yep.
And when the window
That is
comes,
correct.
I mean, that pin sandwich is dead.
Right.
But seriously speaking, if you are using ice
Mm-hmm.
sandwich, just buy a new
Mm-hmm.
one.
Mm.
Seriously, it's not good for your security. Those things were
Exactly.
buggy air.
Yeah. Oh man. Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you
Absolutely.
want, still you can switch to signal. It works.
Right.
So I guess that's it, right? WhatsApp is
All right. So the last topic is about iPhones, right? We all know like iPhones do have very optimized operating system. So, and because of that, they generally don't include a very huge battery. But this time in iPhone 13, they were included more than 3000 mAh of battery. So this is like in the history, it has never happened, right? And
currently it
the
is
reason
raining
could be like,
here, right?
yeah.
Currently it is raining
Yeah, that
here.
is the
Most probably because iPhone had 3000 million battery.
oh man, right. So yeah, I mean the reason could be the CPU and the GPU, right? Both of them is getting even powerful and more powerful. This time GPU got a huge upgrades. So to cope up with that, like to not to reduce the actual usage of the users, they might have increased the battery size. So now it's all about like software is fully optimized, but hardware it's like increasing day by day. So they are most probably because of that they had to include bigger battery.
Anyway, Vijay is like saying everyone
Yeah.
has to start using unknown chat,
Oh
right?
right. Yep.
I mean, it is still a project, you know, in development.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, once the unknown chat comes out, right, it will
Oh
basically
man.
uh, be the best encryption software out there, right? Even beating Signal,
is the best.
if my architecture is
It's
correct.
the most secure thing available in the world, right?
So yeah, I
don't
guess
tell us.
if you want, you can use it. Right? Hopefully, it will be done in 6 months or 7 months, most probably.
Yeah.
And you'll be having at least a workable version which has a OK GUI, most probably, right? If Brit helps me, then we'll be not having just OK GUI, mixer GUI. And yeah,
Right.
I guess that is that for another chat, right?
Right.
So I mean, like for iPhones, right? Having 6,000, 3,000 mAh battery, like see that actually increase the time of iPhones to very high. If I'm correct, 10 now. Yeah, Gaurav, right now 9.5 hours. 9.5 hours of screen on time. Like this is screen on time full stop, right? Like 9.5 hours.
Yeah.
And one more thing is that the charging speed actually increased in your iPhones.
Oh man, right.
Right. So I think this is a combination that is still they are keeping the charging time thing. But having a higher milliampere battery, they are able to do much more higher current in the sense like how C's work. Right? 10C battery can be charged 10 times the capacity. Right.
Yes.
Normally these lithium ion batteries are 2C, those kind of things. That is, if you are having 3Ah battery, like 3000 mAh, then you will be charging at 6 amps at max.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm talking 6 amps at 4.2 volt. Right? I'm not talking 6 amps at 9 volt or anything. It has to be buck converter, right? Internally in the phone.
Yeah.
Your 9 volt 2 amps reduces to something like, let's say, 9 into 2 divided by 4.5. That'll give you 4 amps.
Oh,
so
okay.
that is how it converts, right? Obviously it won't be 4 amps, it will be lesser than 4 amps. Realme 6 laughs in 4000. See, you can't compare the image directly with iPhones. One thing that iPhone doesn't have much animations at all. All the animation they have is basic. They don't use the GPU much. It's so classy and basic that it is like trivial. Right? It's so good, right? In the sense like the UI is good in iPhones.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't use much GPU because they just have transparency. That's it. Android has transparency. It rolls. It kind of slides. So much animations. Right? And that is one thing. GPU is too much used. Right? And second problem with Android is that Android has an inefficient, way of running apps. That is Java. See, I'm not going to say Java is bad. Obviously, when Abhijit is here, he'll be literally kicking me off the moon. I'm saying Java is inefficient compared to C program.
Yeah,
right?
Of course, yeah.
But it is efficient than Python, and it is most probably efficient than all the interpreted languages.
Yes.
But the whole thing is that Java is portable, but Java can be inefficient if not recompiled with a correct API version. Right? That is, if you have an app for an older API version, then C++. Yeah, C++ is like the extension of C. Right? So both will perform very similar. Right? So yeah, if you have an API, like let's say API 23, right, and you are compiling it for API 19 in Android, then obviously the Java JVM will be like the Java C will be old, right? But JVM will be new. New JVM can obviously run old, Java binaries, obviously. But the main disadvantage is that it lacks optimizations and it lacks new instructions which are added to the new JVM and new features. And one more problem is that the Java only uses heap allocation. This is more inefficient than having a stack and heap allocation. Java went with this only because they want to handle with all the garbage collector and all those things, right? So that you don't have to think about memory at all. It has just a heap. It takes care of all the pointers. It looks up all the pointers. If it is dangling, then deletes.
Perfect.
There you go. End of it. But the major thing is that Java, it's very hard to swap. Like if you want to swap a Java program, you have to literally suspend the whole program, right? And that is the major problem with Android. You have seen how
I
fast
see.
an app which is suspended like resumes in iPhones. It is
Yeah,
mainly
it's like
because it has to just load only the yeah, only the pages which is just needed for that application right now. Not every page has to be in the memory pack, right? I'm
absolutely
letting you
right.
speak actually. Like, I crossed you like 2 3 times.
Oh no, no, yeah, right. So yeah, I mean that is correct. Like even I have experience, right? iPhones. The thing is that even like they are better at RAM management. With less, maybe 50% of the RAM of the say the similar
The
Android phone,
management
they
mainly
can
comes
keep.
from the Java side. Java doesn't really
I see.
support SO and all those things. Shared objects
I
and these
see.
kind of things are the ones that really makes Linux small.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Google was like, okay, these things are not really useful. They just kicked it out.
I see.
I'm like, oh man, like that is messed up. That is messed up.
That is absolutely messed up.
Only
Right.
reason why Java is this heavy is because it has to load entire libraries every time each app loads.
Yeah.
That is, if a library uses some library, I mean, if a app uses some library, then it has to load. If another app uses the same
Hmm.
library, it won't share it. It has to load it again. And there you go,
Correct.
memory inefficiency. And combined with you
Oh.
have to swap, then you have to swap the entire process out and you have to swap in the entire process back. There you go,
Oh. I
another
see.
inefficiency, right? And
Yep.
obviously, uh, with iPhones, there is like Xcode. Xcode is basically C++ on steroids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that basically makes it superior because at last it is running
Hmm.
bare metal code which need not be translated. There is no Dalby cache, there is
Okay.
nothing. You have just data like instant cache, data cache, and all those things. And it can be even
Oh.
arranged in such a way that it is specifically
Hmm.
optimized for the particular iPhone. It can even
Correct.
have paths.
Right.
Like, okay, if it is an iPhone
Yeah.
11, go to this path.
Hmm.
iPhone
Hmm.
10, go to this path of the code.
I
iPhone
see. I
13,
see.
it has a newer processor, newer instructions. Maybe take this new route, which
Yeah.
is much more better, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Correct.
So these are all the optimizations Apple can do in the compiler side,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is
That is correct.
99% reason why iPhones are way better than Android in case of memory management and also loading apps very fast.
Right. Right.
But
That is correct.
see, with the comfort of rooting and comfort of having the phone do whatever you say, I will still
Hmm.
prefer Android than iOS because
Yeah.
iOS
Yeah. That is correct.
Apple detects what you do. That is it. End of story. I mean, obviously Android is going that
Yeah.
route, but it's not still that 100% now. Right? Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's like 85% there. Right?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
still there are brands like Samsung which gives you really good software features and hardware features.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Right.
Not
Right.
for a low price, obviously, it's the higher price, but still, if you want to take advantage of whole
Hmm.
Android experience, you have to go with a Samsung
Correct.
because I mean, obviously, it's skinned and all those things. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it has a Samsung fanboy or anything. I'm saying as a person who has seen, OSs and a lot of OSs where
Hmm.
there is very less features. There is just AOSP. That is the number of features they have. What is in AOSP
I
they
see.
have in this. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to advertise your phone, obviously you have to have a better features. And the thing is,
Yes.
these better features gives me a better value for Samsung compared to other phones because I
Right.
am a person who wants one phone in my pocket which can do
Hmm.
everything,
Hmm.
and
Absolutely.
it is like a desktop when I need it to be a desktop. It has
Right.
multi-window
Right.
support. It has copy paste. It has clipboard history. It has all those
Hmm.
things.
Correct.
And I mean MIU is catching up, obviously. But
Yeah.
see,
Yeah. Yeah.
Samsung has been doing this for years now, to a point where like they're like miles ahead. And
Yeah,
if they catch
they
up, I
know
am pretty sure
how.
they will be adding something else.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that is my take in that topic.
Great.
And yeah, Gaurav is giving three cool emoji, like, cool guy emoji.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah, I would suggest you to also look at C, because C++ is really good, object oriented is. You kind of get the hang of both C and C++ with C++. But the C, you can do so much tricks. I have already taught Preet C, and he has already
Yep.
seen that it is nearly close to assembly, to a point where if you know assembly, you can do anything, right? You
Exactly.
just have to
Yep.
know the language. It's very
Correct.
similar, and you can get hands-on stuff. Uh,
I
and
see.
also one more language I will suggest is Rust, which I don't know, but that is
Hmm.
pretty good because it's safe. What do you mean by
Correct.
safe is a language which checks itself that it's not out of bound or anything.
Amazing.
Yeah, C is in
Great.
my college syllabus. That is good. That is absolutely good. Obviously, in C, we have to develop all the data structures. C is not really meant for end application development. It's really meant for
Yes.
system development. Right?
Correct.
So, if you want to make an application, of course, go with C++. Right? If you want to make a neural network, or if you want to
Correct.
make a, or, I mean, you can obviously go with Python if you want to make a neural network, but C++ also works. Right? If you want to make a OpenCV algorithm, all those things, go with C++, because object oriented is faster. You can
Yep.
get everything in your head very faster, and the program looks nicer, and there is no unexpected results from the program.
I see.
I'm thinking of learning C and C++ and JavaScript. JavaScript is pretty easy, man. Like, talking about JavaScript is like easier than Python. See, seriously,
JavaScript. Oh man.
JavaScript is all about the APIs, right? You need to know the APIs, in the sense, like, JavaScript has nothing. Like, the language is nothing. They don't have anything. All the things comes from third-party APIs. I'm not saying inbuilt. JavaScript has nothing in it. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to query something, jQuery. Then if you want to make a website which is good looking, Bootstrap. Like,
Amazing.
everything needs some kind of a plugin. Right? Plugin is a module inside the JavaScript.
Yes.
It's all third party.
Yes.
Right? JavaScript is really simple.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
know Python, then you can directly write JavaScript.
I mean,
That is
see, to like learn JavaScript, you don't even need to learn JavaScript, right? It's like
absolutely.
if you start coding, if you start questioning Google or DuckDuckGo, like this is what I want to do, they will like literally shout at you. You just have to do this, and like it is pretty simple, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah,
See,
JavaScript
Gaurav,
is
right,
pretty easy.
my suggestion is just take developer tools in Firefox or Chrome or whatever you want,
Oh, right,
then type
right.
code in that. Then, if it works, copy it to the production code. That is how
Perfect.
you have
Yeah,
to develop
that's the
JavaScript.
best. That's the best way, right?
So, window local storage. See, like, yes. Those are feeling weird only because you don't know Java. I mean, once you know Java,
Yeah.
you know that everything is an object. Then you have document object, right? Then you have window object, you have browser object, right? Everything is object. And from the
Yeah,
object, you
exactly.
get all the methods. And
Yes.
I
Get
mean, when you
element
know Python, also you get
class
the
and those
idea of
things.
that thing. I guess,
Right.
Gaurav, like, just learn Python at first. Because Python tutorials are much less, you can say, less venomous in the sense, they don't go above and beyond,
Yes.
right? They just
Python is like, after
start
learning Python, you can
right,
just pivot easily to JavaScript or any other language, right?
any other language.
Because, yeah, because like, see, developing logic in Python is very easy. So, I mean, to learn any programming language, you need to be very good at logic. So, while developing logic, the programming language should be an barrier, right? If you start
Absolutely.
with C and if you are also bad at logic, then it will be a disastrous job because
Absolutely.
you have to consider the C syntax and logic, both the things at the time. So start with Python, develop your logic, and then to pivot to any other language. It will be pretty good for you in that case.
So yeah, I mean, my suggestion is just to learn Python, because if you want to implement an algorithm, move Python, done. Algorithm, proof of concept. Now you can implement it
Yes,
C, Java, whatever you want, and
right,
it's direct
right,
translation. Python in my
absolutely.
college syllabus, I'm learning pandas and matplotlib. Okay, so those are advanced stuff. If you want to learn the basics
Yes.
first, that is the list,
Yes.
dictionary. How do you manipulate strings? How do you write a function? How do you write classes? Right?
Correct.
Then, how do you call a function and what is the function in a Python? Right? It's a variable which has a function pointer. That is all. Then you can copy functions to one variable to another variable, right? What is the variable?
Right.
Right? In Python, it's all objects, right? A variable holds an
Yes.
memory location, and memory location has the type of that, and then you have to learn what is type and str of.
Yeah.
There are so many functions which is inbuilt which can be used, right? Like hex, int,
Correct.
float. I guess. Yeah, when I
Yeah.
think about what are the functions, I don't get the function. More the application,
Right.
obviously, I
Right.
get the function. There's some
Yes.
average, some average. Then there's median mode, if I'm correct,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, then even there is something called yield and those kind of things, right? Uh,
Okay.
so this is
Yeah.
basic
Yeah.
Python. Right?
It is.
Then you have to,
Right.
like matplotlib and all those things are absolutely great. That is only you can say anyone can do that in the sense like matplotlib is so abstract to a point where you don't have to do anything. You just give x, y, and which type of plot you want. It plots for you.
That's
Right?
all. Yeah.
That's all. But when you do the things in your hand, matplotlib is
Mm.
better, right? See, if you use Seaborn or Plotly, obviously that is worse, right? Like, for learning.
Absolutely. Right.
It handles everything for me. Right? Uh,
Correct.
Pandas, don't use pandas at first. Process data manually. Make it as tables. In the sense like
Yes.
dictionary with combined with list or like you can put any data type in any data type. That's the whole idea of Python. Right?
Yeah.
So
That's really good feature.
I know a little bit of DSA. Okay, DSA is what do you say, like which DSA? Like DSA in the sense of encryption or
I think data structures and algorithms. That's the generic term for
data
DSA.
structures and algorithms. Okay.
Yeah.
Stack, queue, linked list, etc. Okay, got it. Okay, so yeah, C++. See, like you can do all those things, stack, queue, everything you can implement in Python also, and it's like easy, very easy. You take a list, push to the list, right? That is,
Yeah.
I think there is no push. There is a thing called append. Right? Append to the
Yeah.
list.
That is called. Yeah.
For
Okay.
pop, you just do pop of 0, and you get the
Yes.
value. Then you have queue. If you do pop, then you have a without any argument, pops a last element or pop of -1. Then you make a stack.
Right.
And linked list, obviously, like it's already list is already a linked list, but you can make list of lists, right? Then what
Yeah.
happens is list has two elements. One element is the data, and the other element is a list itself. Then you can keep on going.
Sure.
And you can even make a class, class node, and you can make a object of the node type in that. So yeah, all those things you
Right.
can. Yeah, C++ syntax obviously feels structured and all things, but when you learn Python, you also find out that Python there is no other way than to write the structure. If you don't structure it, Python doesn't do. Right?
Yep. Yep.
That is the beauty of Python.
Absolutely.
More on indentation thing. That's the whole thing, right? You have to structure it. Otherwise, it's like that. See, you can also write. It's like C, right? You also have a thing called main in Python. If I'm correct, where you can
Yeah.
call the
Yep.
main, right? And main will be executed
Yes.
at first, like a script in C, right? Actually, main does get executed, right? Only after main, the execution continues to whatever you have written sequentially. So, yeah,
Yes.
right. Underscore main underscore. If I'm correct. Yes.
Yes.
Underscore
Yes.
main
That-
underscore.
Correct.
And you just write everything in there. Actually, Python has a default queue. Yeah, that is correct. Your default queue. Abhi is saying it's a default queue, right? It has so many things. Even has that thing, if I'm correct, window thing, which is deck queue or something. What are
Yeah.
the thing you use
It is.
to
It is in the collections. I mean, you have to import
collection?
from collections. Import DQ. It's there.
Yeah, perfect. So there is also a thing called queue, just queue. Directly you can import
Ah, I
messages.
see.
Obviously,
Yes,
same.
right, right, right.
Right.
That
I
is
mean,
cool.
I just use list as a queue because it's like so easy, right? It's like list is already a queue. Like, you even have a
Yeah,
proper zero. So it's like
yep,
so
yep, yep.
much. Yeah. I mean, obviously, queue will be using some kind of a linear, algorithms which are better than handling lists inside. And obviously, you should
I see.
use that, instead of link, list if you want to use queue. Obviously, use queue.
Yep.
So, yeah, I guess that is that. Yes. And if you don't have any more questions, then
Okay, so yeah, I guess it was a good chat today, right? We had lots of interactions and
absolutely.
topics
And
were really good.
major thing is Abhijit is here. Abhijit, if you can be
Yep,
every day, right? I mean Saturday, I mean Sunday, right? Every Sunday,
yep.
it will be absolutely great. We don't have
Yeah,
any audience that is as knowledgeable as you here. I mean, obviously we have Rushik, which
correct.
is knowledgeable, but not as well as you. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, it will be greatly appreciated. Now our viewership is very down. We're going down. I think we have to think about the quality a little bit more. But yeah, anyway, you let your exams be done and maybe your current semester also be done. After that, you will have enough time to make everything good back again, right?
Right. Right.
Most probably. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that is
All right.
it.
So, yeah, bro. Okay, so I guess let's close the stream. So,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
we
I
have
mean,
all the
like,
outro and all those things.
of course, yeah. I mean, it's closed in the sense,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
close the topics, right? So, yeah, I mean, like, please do like if you liked it and share it with your friends. And we'll like come every Sunday around this time, right? 9:30 or something. And otherwise, do let us know if you have any questions in the comments. And do let us know in the Tux forums also if you want any help. So, yeah, yes, goodbye everyone.